Okay, it's 6:01. I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order.
Come.
They gave me a gavel. It's 6:01. I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order with, let's start with the flag salute.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will the clerk call the roll?
Counselor Dykstra?
Here.
Counselor Ulfers?
Here.
Counselor Nassar?
Here.
Counselor Reese-Camp?
Here.
Council President Steinhebel?
Here. Mayor Aziz is not able to attend tonight. Okay, next on the agenda is the consent calendar. Entertain a motion.
I move we approve the consent calendar as presented.
Second that.
Actually, I'd like to make a change to that consent calendar. What do I have to do to make that happen?
The consent calendar, any counselor can ask to remove any item from the consent calendar, which is done automatically. The consent calendar then, without the item that is being removed, can then be voted on. After that, the issue that has been removed from the consent calendar is specifically addressed by council and either approved, disapproved, or modified.
So we're looking at removing the agenda. Then I'd like to move to remove the agenda so we can add something to it tonight.
I can't hear you.
I'd like to move that we remove the agenda from the consent calendar so that we can add something to it.
You don't need to move that. You can, it just automatically, you can remove it from the consent calendar.
So be it then.
So the next step would be to vote on the consent calendar without the agenda. And then somebody could move to approve the consent agenda.
We do have two motions on the table. Does this qualify as essentially an amendment? Do I need to do anything further to address those two motions?
No. Okay. For Councilor Reese-Camp, would you withdraw the motion?
Yes,
Withdraw.
I will move to withdraw my original motion.
And nothing else has to happen. It's removed automatically, and now you can, somebody can move to approve the consent calendar without the agenda.
Then I move to approve the consent calendar without the agenda.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion moved and seconded to approve the consent calendar without the agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, now for the business of the agenda. I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda for tonight.
So I want to move to amend I want to add the discussion of the proclamation to come from the counselors to the agenda.
So to understand the motion, then you're moving to amend the agenda, add as an agenda item, a discussion relating to the proclamation that many of the people are here to discuss.
Is it a proclamation or a resolution?
Well, what are we?
Well, it was a proclamation that was requested, and is there ability to move that from up to the council to make it a council proclamation?
Ask me that question again. I'm
Can
not
it
sure.
become, can it become, instead of a mayor's proclamation, a council proclamation?
If it's done by motion and not resolution, I believe that, yes, the council could make a motion to approve any document that it sees fit by a majority vote.
That then.
Come on.
Okay,
I would.
Lovely.
At the same time, I would simply caution the council that because it was not part of the agenda, Oregon public meeting laws do request that items that significant items on that are going to be discussed be provided public notice that those items are going to be discussed. Now, the language is not as strict as saying that you can't amend the agenda and do things. But I would leave it up to the, it's kind of the council has to decide whether that's something that was significant that requires a public notice so that more people are notified that the discussion is going to happen and potentially a vote is going to happen, or if it's something that does not rise to the significant level that it needed to be part of the public notice as it relates to the agenda. So, and I say that because the actual law itself does not give great guidance on that issue.
Counselor Nassar?
So what I'd like to do is make a motion that we have that discussion. And what I'd like to do, see if we can make that proclamation happen tonight.
So we're adding a Pride proclamation, as I understand it, based on your motion, a Pride proclamation to the agenda for discussion of this council. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So we have a motion. Do I have a second?
What's the title of the proclamation?
Counselor Nassar?
This is just a Pride Month resolution. I have some copies here. Is that, do I pass it out to the rest of the council, or do I just?
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be appropriate if somebody is going to second or vote on it, that they take a look at it.
Oh, here, just go ahead.
So I do recognize this as a resolution that, or a proclamation that came into our inboxes by a constituent last month.
Correct.
Is that, okay.
Just a few words were changed.
Again, we have a motion on the table for consideration of this resolution. This does not mean that this is being passed. It's for discussion of adding it to the agenda. And I'm still waiting for a second.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
Is this the same one that the mayor saw and declined on and tried to get redone?
I believe it's very similar, yes.
Is it very similar or is it the same?
I can't answer that question because I know there were a few words that were changed from I to we.
Did you come up with this?
Not completely, no.
Still calling for a second. I'm going to give it a couple more minutes for everybody to read the resolution. Okay, going once, going twice,
Can I say something?
of course.
I feel that as a father, a stepfather, a father-in-law, an uncle, and loving friend to so many of the LGBTQ plus community, I feel obligated and I'm honored to be on the side that favors the support of this that was requested. So I ask that someone here second that motion so we can further have that discussion. Sorry? It's just hard to hear you. Oh, should I say that over again?
You have to get closer there, Gam.
I'll get closer.
Okay. Well, thank you for those comments. I think without a second, the addition of this does not pass. Counselor Rees-Camp, you're looking at me in a way. Just double checking. Okay. I would entertain, that motion has failed. I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as written.
Michelle,
Excuse me.
that's right. We've already approved the consent agenda. It would just be approving the agenda.
Oh, sorry, the agenda. Thank you. Excuse me, the agenda for our council meeting tonight.
I would move for approval.
Okay,
Second.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Motion passes. Noted. Okay. Next on the list today, we have proclamations. Bear with me here, folks. Okay, first we have a proclamation, Poppy Day proclamation. Whereas the city of Lebanon supports the Lebanon American Legion's designation of May 27th, 2022 as Poppy Day in Lebanon to honor our fallen. And whereas the city of Lebanon recognizes the importance of honoring those who have worn our nation's uniform. And whereas a nation at peace must be reminded of the price of war and the debt owed to those who have died. And whereas the red poppy was designated as a symbol of sacrificed lives on the battlefields, and whereas the American Legion Auxiliary has pledged to remind America annually of this debt through distribution of the memorial flower, now therefore I, Council President Michelle Steinhebel, hereby proclaim May 27th, 2022 as Poppy Day and ask that all citizens pay tribute to those who have made the ultimate sacrifice in the name of freedom by wearing the memorial poppy on this day. Okay. Next up, we have a Strawberry Festival proclamation. Whereas 2022 marks the 113th anniversary of the Lebanon Strawberry Festival, in which we welcome thousands of visitors to our community. And whereas June 2nd, 2022 marks the coronation of the Strawberry Festival Queen. And whereas the Strawberry Festival is a citywide event and recognition of this event is fitting and appropriate. Now, therefore, I, Council President Michelle Steinhebel, do hereby proclaim June 2nd through June 5th as the Lebanon Annual Strawberry Festival, a time for community fun and frolic. I solicit the cooperation of all members of the community in honoring our Strawberry Queen, her court, and this year's theme of Strawberry Vacation. Okay, next up, if I can get my agenda all together and straight, we have public comments. So welcome, everybody. Thank you for attending tonight. Bear with us. As I said when at the start of the meeting, Mayor Aziz is not able to attend tonight, and this is my first time chairing a council meeting. Public comments. So citizens may address the council by filling out a testimony comment card, and I see I have a stack here, prior to speaking and hand it to our city recorder. Each citizen is provided up to 3 minutes to provide public comments to the council. The council may take an additional 2 minutes to respond. The city recorder will accept and distribute any written comments at a speaker's request. Did we receive any written comments for tonight? Okay. And with that, again, I just want to reiterate, we're going to keep it at 3 minutes tonight. I know the original plan was to keep it at an hour. Based on what I have in my hand, I don't think we're going to exceed an hour. But if we go past, we'll say 7:15, the council, I will reevaluate and we'll go from there. So with that, first up, I'd like to bring Brittany Nassar.
Hello.
How are you today? Good evening, everyone. My name's Brittany Nassar. I was here last month. I'm not sure if you remember, but I'm sure you do. So I have the pleasure of addressing the very colorful collection of humans that have a personal stake in the decision against prejudice for your LGBT community. They are here, they are outside. We're going to be hanging out outside, blowing bubbles and doing stuff, nothing along the lines of protest or activism or anything like that. But they are allies, and that is to say that they stand alongside and understand the hill that the LGBTQAI+ community has had to climb in order to achieve the regular life without prejudice. And they are part of the LGBT community themselves, your community. These are primarily your citizens, not out-of-town activists, but your citizens. And you will notice much of this group is young adults and people that are uncomfortable in here, but we're excited to meet and represent each other outside and in the back here. You will also notice neighbors, business owners, city employees, and adults of parents, humans that we here work amongst and serve every day. I want to make clear to anyone who's listening, especially within social media, that shaming people for not understanding is not social progress. We don't blame you for not understanding a new language that is brand new to most of us and is invented to help people understand each other better. That language changes all the time, and the LGBT community is growing and changing and creating that language to create the inclusivity for humans that we do not yet understand. And it is the progress of humans in science and community. In the same token, the originators of the proclamation do not stand for hate or shame, and our intention was to bring about the change in conversation that leads to more understanding and community, which amounts to your entire community, not just the LGBTQAI community. This progress does not at all change or influence the Strawberry Festival, a joy of everyone, including the LGBTQAI. Maybe we could have a float in such a thing. That would be kind of fun. The only event we were fundraising for was Pride Day itself on June 18th at Academy Square, which is next to the library, and not a full month of events, only recognition of the already federally recognized LGBTQAI Awareness Month in lieu of the riots and stands at Stonewall in New York in 1969. In several aspects of this country's function, we fail to have the vocabulary to explain that we should all do the work to be better humans, and we fail to have the vocabulary for this kind of inclusion that we seek right now. But it is very easy to argue over the semantics and concepts of vernacular nowadays, and we have no interest in doing any of that. Someone brought one of these topics to my place of work this week and said that being an ally is somehow not including other groups, when in reality, anti-prejudice groups have the same function in community of recognition, whether it's Black lives, police lives, Native American lives, handicap lives, religious prejudice, or any and all lives, when in fact all of these groups seek to recognize the indisputable and unique struggles that each group deals with within their lifetime and recognize any failings to create change for the betterment of future generations. Allowing religion, I'm sorry? Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So all of this to say something maybe along the lines of James. He said, "Faith without works is dead," a common quote, but one that puts action behind thought. Doing the work of James or Jesus or any religious do-gooder requires the uncomfortable vulnerability and the work of understanding. I'm sure all of us can agree that we have been working or struggled to keep our jobs in the last few years, and we have much better and bigger things to worry about. But we have come to the realization that if we don't do the work of including others and understanding our prejudices, that the active nature of humans will rise to fix it. And by simply saying one thing, picking a side, giving a reason in any direction, the people will rise, and some of them are here. The longer we allow this to continue, the larger it may get, and it may create drama, not drama that we were interested in creating, but we can end.
Ms.
And we
Nassar,
may not experience a daily life of being threatened or scrutinized by, or living with the potential of being threatened by looking different or simply existing. But for some humans, especially in the LGBT community, that is a daily fear, and we should stand with them. Thank you.
thank you for providing comment tonight. Thank you. Okay, next up, I have Flynn Carey, and then we're going to kind of do this with someone on deck, and the person after that will be Justin Carey. Oh, there we go.
Okay. The City of Lebanon proudly celebrates and supports a vast number of small but important parts of this community. We celebrate clubs, organizations, civil causes, and special events. This city is proud of all the parts that make our community a whole, but it appears there's a group that our city is ashamed to support. With all the friendliness our city is willing to extend, it seems to want to single out the LGBTQ+ population. By singling out our population as unsupportable, you're doing the work of the bully. You're saying to those that hurl insults, slurs, and threats that we're worthy of exclusion. I've experienced all these things firsthand, and it's this very abuse that leads LGBTQ youth to self-hatred, depression, and suicidal ideation. 43.5% of LGBTQ youth have attempted suicide in the past year, the rate being much higher for transgender teens. I am a transgender teen. You are willing to support Mental Health Awareness Month, but by excluding us, you're contributing to the problem. In the actions of your exclusion of LGBTQ population, you undercut your own causes. It seems to me that you're happy to support people once they're suffering, but are unwilling to address the underlying bigotry in the community. But sometimes it's too late, and you can't save those you've already harmed. Why are you more willing to support the side of our community who would rather exclude than include? By promoting pride in this community, you're extending a hand to your neighbor as a friend and an ally. Pride is about the 1969 Stonewall riots and to work to achieve equal opportunities and justice for the LGBTQ plus Americans. That's all we're asking for. All we want is equal opportunity, and we're not afraid to fight for it. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. So Flynn, right? Thank you again. So Justin, you're up. And then after Justin, I have Raleigh Henshaw. Okay.
All right. I'd like to address the City Council about the rejection of the mayoral declaration of Pride Month. A mayoral declaration is a declaration of allyship and support, and the mayor has shown his willingness to make the easy declarations. But it's not the easy things in life that determine our character, it's the hard ones. The ideas we wrestle with and put our time into and truly understand that define us. I've come to be the voice of an ally, and I hope you hear my words of truth because they were hard-earned as any truth must be. My child, Flynn Carey, taught me how important being an ally is and how meaningful a declaration can be. This is important because I have been in your shoes. About 2 years ago, we discovered that my child had begun cutting. This was an outward symbol to us of the inner pain that they were feeling. This was a manifestation of a person who desperately needed an ally, but didn't feel that what they knew to be true about themselves would receive the love they needed to see them through the fear and depression they felt from the struggle they were facing alone. This resulted in hundreds of scars he will carry with him throughout his life. This happened because without having anyone, they felt safe. The pain of cutting was the only way they knew how to distract from the pain inside. It was at this point that we learned our child is gay. I'm a straight Christian man, and though I have had many very close friends and family that were gay, when I learned that my child is transmasculine, all the lessons of my faith, love, and allyship I knew were forgotten. I looked at the cuts on his arms, the pain in his eyes, and the desperate need for support, and spoke words I will always regret. I said, I will never call you Flynn. I will never call you my son. I said these words not because of hate, but because I thought I knew the truth. And every one of you listening to these words right now in your heart knows I was wrong. In this moment, I had forgotten everything I know. With the words, I had turned my back on Christ. I had forgotten, do for the least, do unto others, the woman at the well, and the Good Samaritan. I had turned my back on being an ally for the disenfranchised, which is the very nature and entirety of the work of Christ. But I had a child still that was broken and in need, and this is where I began my true journey as an ally. Through 2 years of listening, dad drives, and long walks, my hardened heart was softened, and I stand before you now proud to declare Flynn Carey as my son. I've been in your shoes, Mayor and council people. I've been afraid of learning and change, but in my journey, my heart changed, and I learned to declare myself. I learned that to declare yourself an ally is not only important, it is critical. It saves lives and strengthens relationships.
Time.
Your job as mayor and as council people is to lead, to make hard calls and declarations. You were quoted as saying, a declaration cannot change the lives of those being bullied, but I'm here to tell you that you are wrong. A declaration of allyship is the heart of God, and it can change the world. Do the hard work and declare Pride Month in Lebanon.
Thank you for sharing and thank you for your bravery and your comments.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Raleigh, I'm sorry if I'm saying your name incorrectly. My last name is Steinhebel. Everyone says it wrong. Cassie Cruz, you're on deck.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just saying Cassie Cruz is on deck for after you. Thank you.
Hello, my name's Raleigh Henshaw. I've lived in Lebanon more than half of my life, over 40 years. Thank you for this opportunity to speak this evening. Up front, I want to say that I'm very concerned, even anxious about what I think will be a hot button issue tonight. Lebanon High School student Zane Chapman's proclamation, which as originally written, declares that June be recognized as LGBTQ plus Pride Month in Lebanon. man. After reading local newspapers' views from their editorial board's write-up last week, I see that fiery darts have already begun to fly from them. What worries me is that flames of opposite viewpoints are already ablaze, and our city where I live and that I love may be heading in a direction like scenes we saw on the TV news. Groups in Portland protesting against each other's points of view, even becoming violent with each other not so long ago. It's like a nightmare to me. This country, our society, and it seems these days every part of our lives have become so politically polarized that not just a little bit, but to the extremes, our government barely functions because of it. At my age, I've stood on both sides politically and have grown disillusioned and disappointed with both extremes, which these days seems are exclusive, with little between them represented. I'm now registered as a nonpartisan voter. I feel constantly like I'm in a minority standing. Not red, not blue. I guess I'm purple. Now, about me, I'm a Christian. Please don't prejudge me or jump to any conclusions from my testimony of my standing in God's name. It's not about any religion or religious doctrines or religions. It's about a true personal relationship with Jesus, God's Son. Beyond saying this, it's so difficult to explain in words to people who don't know him. I'll do my best. It's about accepting Jesus into one's life through his sacrifice of his life. We are made right with God. It's impossible to totally get this unless you've got this. When we make that step, something supernatural happens. Please hear this. I'm speaking from my real life experience. God's own spirit literally comes and dwells within us, sets us apart. Enough preaching? Well, bear with me just more. Because you
Sir-
must hear this
Sir,
to
your time is
understand
up.
I'm sorry?
Can you please wrap it up quickly?
I
Your
will.
time is up.
I will. Understand where I'm coming from. God's perspective has become my perspective. His love is pure and is offered to all of us. And this means completely, inclusively. Okay, I'm done with the preaching. I'm for all, notwithstanding, everyone's choices are their own, and I'm fine with that. And I will stand with them and for them. I'm for recognizing this young man's position, even honoring his proclamation to a point. Look, we can't give every view a month set aside for it, though. We'd run out of months real quick. Maybe we can get a longer calendar, huh?
Thank you.
24 months.
Thank you.
Anyway, between the two extremes, there's a common ground. It's where common sense is found. Unfortunately, not very common these days. It's also fertile ground where good things can grow, like understanding, respect, compromise, peace, friendship, and even love can flourish.
Sir, thank you for your comments tonight.
Thank you for the word, sir.
Thanks, Raleigh.
So Cassie is on deck and Tana Nicholson is up. Perfect. Cassie, oh, sorry, Cassie, you're up and Tana Nicholson is on deck. I'm sorry. Did I say that backwards? My apologies.
I got it. Hey, everybody. I think I had said last council meeting, I'm just gonna do a quick update of things we have going on because I'm gonna do a quarterly, just like catch up. So I'm just letting you know everything that's going on for Downtown Association. So last week, what was awesome, I actually attended the Heritage Conference. So the Heritage Conference had a bunch of downtown associations, museums, and their main focuses that they had, which were awesome. They talked about diversity of our boards to making sure we have all voices recognized and people, so we're not homogenous, that we can really come together and critically think. And when we critically think, we have different minds to come together to do that. And then the other one that I really enjoyed, because that was a really good speaker, but they had another one where they had talked about just the preservation and telling stories. And that part of that was that full story to be able to talk about our community, to give perspective and everything else. So it was just really beautiful to see how at the state side, they're working to really making sure we as a community are giving that story and giving that kind of perspective, kind of to educate, so to speak. Oop, I lost my phone. Sorry. And then it was just, like I said, it was really great conference was through Zoom. And then we have, of course, events just coming up. I have one other thing on the conference, but it's on the back of my mind. But we have events coming up. We had to sadly cancel our first Friday just because of weather, but we have the next one that's coming up in June, which will be the Wine and Art Walk, which is a fundraiser for the Downtown Association. And of course, we have our Family Pride Day coming up. So please do, if you guys are able to make it, we would love to have everyone there. It is a celebration of the diversity of family, and what is diverse? Just difference. So we have all different families, so we're celebrating all different families. So I just appreciate you guys, and thank you for having me. So that's all I got.
So quickly, my understanding, obviously, the mayoral proclamation didn't happen or isn't happening. But did the city, my understanding is the city waived fees for the senior center and the park for the
Yeah,
Pride
so huge
Day.
thank
Is
you
that
to
correct?
that. Yeah, so huge thank you for that. And I'm sorry I didn't mention that. I was trying to be mindful of 3 minutes. Yeah, so the city has always partnered and done a really great job for being able to help us to bring on events and make them free for our community. So to make events free for our community, the city, you guys have always been really good about being a great sponsor and walking alongside of that. So we have Academy Square that we're able to utilize, and we're utilizing the senior center to show a documentary. So yeah, I just huge thank you. And we actually have you guys like listed on the posters so people
Fantastic.
can know that you guys are involved. So I do appreciate that. But the Heritage Conference was wonderful. We learned a lot. There was a lot of great networking. And it was just really about making sure that we're just making people aware of who we are and where we come from, and to make sure our stories are told. So that was wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your Downtown Association updates.
Absolutely.
Tana, was it Tana Nicholson? And then on deck, Cassidy Sanderson.
Hi, I'm Tana,
Hi, Tana.
and I'm a human being who lives here in Lebanon for decades and decades and decades. Since I was a little girl. And I have been watching multiple Facebook groups, and I've been listening here every single month to everybody's hearts. And to me, the common thread that I am hearing is equality, right? And I hear a lot of hurt, and I hear a lot of frustration and different things like that. But equality, well, I've been wounded a lot. I've been sexually assaulted. I have been sexually harassed. I have been beaten within an inch of my life. I have had so many things I've survived. I don't walk around wearing that as a badge. In fact, only my closest friends know these things. But I'm okay being me. And I moved over from victim to victory. And there's a process to healing, a very difficult process to healing. And I don't think anybody deserves to be bullied. There's a common thread. And I watched in horror this last week, multiple posts in our Lebanon different community Facebook pages, something that is so concerning to me. And it spiraled so negative. And I am very concerned for our mayor. I am very concerned for some people clear over here and some people clear over here and anything in between. And I want to make sure that our police department is aware and you are watching these threats. Yes, I saw them deleted. Yes, I saw a whole bunch of comments deleted off of one. Yes, I saw pages go down, whatever it is. People are being called in from out of town. They are not from Lebanon. We've all seen on the news what has happened and what out-of-towners have done. And I want to make sure that our peaceful, friendly, beautiful, not perfect town is not thrown into chaos from outsiders. Do we want outsiders? Of course we do. But they need to be respectful, law-abiding, and family-oriented and aware that we have our children and our grandchildren here. And fear-mongering doesn't belong here. You want to do that in Portland. Don't do it in Portland. It's wrong anywhere you go. But people need to have fun. They need to break out of fear-mongering. They need to break out of, I'm right, you're wrong. and just be human beings and be kind and respectful and go to the Strawberry Festival. There's literally a thread of people online that are saying they're not coming to our Strawberry Festival because of this massive fight online and intermixing of the community and people calling in people from out of town. This is not right either.
Ma'am, your
Okay,
time is up.
please, please be watching and protect our community. Thank you.
Thank you for your passionate comments. And so you know, everyone that's providing testimony tonight does have a Lebanon address.
Thank you.
Cassidy, and then Taya Heartless is up on deck. So Cassidy, you're up.
Hello, my name is Cassidy. I'm in 7th grade and I'm part of the LGBTQ plus community. I feel that I've been treated differently because of it my whole life. And by having a Pride Month in my town would give me acceptance, an acceptance that would make me not only feel welcome in my town, but in my life. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
your bravery, and I do plan to stand alongside you on June 18th for Pride Month. Pride
Thank
Day.
you.
Taya, excuse me. And Star Dougherty is on deck. Thank you.
Hi.
Hi, thank you.
I was going to bring my daughter up here with me, but she's a little shy. But I will, however, share what she shared with me yesterday when. Pull it closer towards you.
So we're looking for a red light. So when you come up here, make sure the light is red on the microphone.
Hello?
And yes, you have to lean in.
Okay, I was gonna say, I was gonna bring my daughter up here with me, but this is a little intimidating even for an adult. I will point out, though, that we had a conversation yesterday about what's happening here. And with the proclamation and the difference of opinion, and she put it pretty simply, and I'd like to share that since she's sitting here behind me. She said that she believes, she's 6 for context, that she believes that the people who don't want to hear a Pride proclamation read should just stay home. I point that out because there seems to be a stark contrast of people who disagree on this topic. It seems that there's very negative views towards one group where the other is just asking for a simple recognition. It's not too late to open your mind, to hear what people have to say, to change your opinions. And all that this Pride proclamation does in my eyes, and I think for most people, it only adds to the people in the community, the LGBT community. It only adds to them and gives them recognition and gives them support, whereas it doesn't take away from anybody. It takes away from no one. It only adds. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Star, you're up. And then on deck, I have Marcellus Angelford.
Hi, I'm in the 7th grade and I support the LGBTQ because I believe expressing you and being you is very important in life. Like what you like, not what other people tell you to like. I don't mean to change subjects here, but I also think having a Pride celebration or month in my town would make me feel welcomed and accepted because I have been a part of the LGBTQ community at a young age, and some people do treat me differently because of it. I don't think treating people differently because of who they are is very appropriate, especially in this day of age. I'm not trying to cause a conflict with anyone in this room or trying to make this complex. I guess all I'm trying to say is supporting small groups makes changes in the world and could create peace. Thank you for listening to what I have to say at this event.
Thank you so much for your bravery and for
Thank
coming
you.
tonight.
Thank you.
Okay, Marcellus is up, and then I have Zane, Mika, and Maddie on deck. And that will be 3 minutes for that 3 group.
Go ahead.
Yeah, hi. My name is Marcellus. I live here in Lebanon. And thank you for the opportunity to address the city council here. If Mayor Paul Aziz were here, I would thank him for not signing the proclamation. The proclamation is seeking to endorse a specific set of relationships. And this is not the business of the city council. You guys should be worried about, the schools, fixing potholes, stuff like that. People's personal choices in their relationships should be their own personal choice and isn't something that the city council needs to be concerning itself with. Now, the LGBT community has, for a long time, and to an extent rightly so, brought up civil rights and pointed to strides made with racial minorities, religious minorities, etc. Well, the city council here, I assume, would not be endorsing a specific race above another race, or would endorse a specific sex or gender above another sex or gender, or a religion above another religion. People's individual relationship status is their own business, and if they choose not to have any, you can be just as proud of that as anything else. And as far as equality, we don't need to be favoring one specific group. And, I am totally against violence against people. That's not right. And I want to be clear on that, but that is a separate issue. If we have a violence problem, we need to address that with our police. If we have a bullying or intimidation problem, we need to address that. If we have mental health issues, we need to address that. If we need to address domestic abuse, rape, violence, we need to address that as what it is. Gay on gay violence is a real thing, just as straight on straight violence is a real thing. There's domestic abuse in all kinds of situations. Those are totally separate and from the issue with this proclamation. So thank you for hearing me out here, but it's not right to elevate a specific relationship status above another here. And really, it's not the council's business to be doing this stuff in the first place. It's just not appropriate. Stick to taking care of our schools, taking care of our roads, keeping our people safe. All people.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marcelo.
Okay, Zane, Mika, Maddie, and then on deck I have Jenny Lynch.
Hello,
Hi.
I'm Madison. I'm a high schooler here in Lebanon.
Can you lean
Speak
into
up,
the
please.
mic a little bit? Thank
Sorry.
you. Thanks. I know I have to do the same. Look.
I'm a high schooler here in Lebanon, and I'm here to talk about the proclamation for Pride Month. I've heard a lot of arguments that Pride Month is somewhat elevating a certain type of relationship over others, but that is simply not what it is at all. Pride Month was put into place because of the violence and the hatred that we in the community have experienced in the past. And it's also to celebrate the type of love and support that we have for each other. It's so much more than just a type of relationship. The LGBTQ community, that is. Yeah.
Hey, I'm pretty sure you may remember me from last time. Mika from LHS, sophomore. I'd just like to start off by saying that I think that events in general are very important for everyone that is involved. And that's not excluding anyone. It's very open to anyone that would like to come or experience it. It's something to experience and have fun and laugh and love with each other and just experience things like just sitting around having popcorn or going to a carnival. It all has the same feeling, but it's great to have it for a specific reason to, what's the word I'm looking for? Support the community, or like the police thing. It's always great for that because we have to I'm good.
It's okay. Thank you for your bravery. Zane, did you want a moment? We have very, very limited time left, so please be very brief. I'm sorry.
I
But,
can sum this up. You're good.
okay.
I am a Lebanon high school sophomore. I have been spit on, I have been hit, and I've been yelled slurs more times than I should have to count. I felt unsafe since the 4th grade, which is when I knew that I identified with the LGBTQ plus community. And I may not have ever talked about it until I was in like 7th or 8th grade, because I was never taught what it was about. And having events and proclamations that kind of include everybody, and it'll help educate people and help people understand that we go through more than people think. Our suicide rates are extraordinarily high. I don't want to out anybody, but I don't think I have met anybody part of the LGBTQ plus community that hasn't done any sort of self-harm. And self-harm is not just cutting. It could be scratching, picking, pinching, anything that harms your body in any type of way. And having that representation was what kind of helped me be more excited and open, but I lost that representation.
I understand you feel that way. There are counselors on this body here that share your concern and stand with your community. So thank you for your comments tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Up next, I have, oh, sorry, did I skip one? I did. Jenny Lynch.
Yes.
And then on deck, I have Lindsay Pearson.
I was surprised to learn that this is called the city that friendliness built. I moved here in 1999, and some of the first things I saw as a stranger on my street were guys in big trucks rounding the bend and throwing bottles, full bottles of water at the guy on the corner gardening because he had a DeFazio sign, political sign in his yard. Just, you know, I'm not that controversial a figure, I think. One of my favorite places to go and have an inexpensive hot dog and a beer and listen to some really good local talent who gets a chance to display, you know, their talent has been run out of town. And now I see 4 counselors who would not even, you have let the bullies win. The police are never around when the bullies are there, and I wonder if the police don't just turn a blind eye because, you know, maybe they're on that side. I don't know, and it just really disheartens me. I don't feel friendly. You know, I mean, I don't feel that friendliness is coming at me, and I'm an ally. I'm not gay, but it's just as a person, I don't feel welcome in this town. I got harassed for wearing a mask in Safeway. I have taken my business to Corvallis. People, business leaders are losing out because they don't stop the bullies. If we all need to step up, because the police can't be everywhere. And you were the people that most embody this town, and you did not step up to say, no, we're not going to bully people. And I am very, very sad about that.
I would like to clarify too, just, I am a counselor. I am acting in the capacity as the mayor tonight, so I did not get the chance to have a vote. If I were able to vote, I certainly would have seconded that motion. So
I
just so
understand that.
everybody
I'm
understands
taking a Robert's
that.
Rules of Order
Okay,
class right now.
thank you.
so.
Thank you again for your comments, and thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you.
So Lindsay Pearson, you're up, and then, Susu, you are on deck. I'm shortening.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
So I wanted to bring up two things to your attention. I do want to speak on the Pride Proclamation, but I also wanted to see if we could leave Jason Boland's Ward 3 seat council position vacant until the city can vote on a counselor in November. That's 5 months from now. It's already been vacant. So I just encourage that with the counselor being selected by you guys. The people don't have a voice. And so I just ask that. And then on Pride, I support the mayor with standing against the proclamation. And I don't say that because I'm against the Pride community. I say that because I don't think it's inclusive. Like the Strawberry Festival, that doesn't have a name on it for inviting anyone in our community. Anyone is welcome and encouraged to come and spend time with family, friends, and have a fun time. I think that we push the agenda for sexual identity and gender to be more important than it is. And I don't say that to discourage anyone that is bi or lesbian. There's so much more to a person than who you choose to spend your life with and your gender. You have morals and values and things you can bring to the table. And I feel like we're encouraging children to believe that that's the most important thing about them. And there are many attributes to a person. So I would just encourage the council and the city to look at that. And, you know, we could do more family-friendly community activities and youth-driven activities. And I don't encourage bullying. And if there is a problem with bullying at our high school or other schools, I think that we need to encourage parents' involvement in the schools more. Getting volunteers back into the schools because we know they haven't been for the last 2 years, and parents helping to monitor halls and take care of our children. It's not the city's responsibility, and I think that's all I have on that, but thank you for your time, and I hope that everyone on the opposing position feels supported by the community regardless of whether we have a Pride Proclamation. Have your events, have celebrations. It just doesn't need to come from the city, in my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. And then this is the final one. Okay. This is the final comment card. We made it under an hour. So Susu, I'm sorry. Can you please state your name?
Samaya Salahuddin.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Yep. Hello, everybody. My name is Samaya Salahuddin, or Susu for short. I was born and raised in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and recently moved to Lebanon, Oregon last year. My friends have told me all about how Lebanon was built on friendliness. If I'm being honest, in the short time that I have been here, I'm not seeing it at this moment. I work at the Teen Center for the Boys and Girls Club, and I have seen firsthand the hate that kids spew at each other for the most minor things. Pride will not be taken away from the Strawberry Festival, seeing as it is a whole separate situation. Individuals here before me have said the City Council has more important things to worry about, but I disagree. I think that it is very much the City Council's job to combat ignorance with acceptance. I know that Lebanon can be the city that friendliness built, but I ask you to look into your hearts and remember the saying that we continue to teach our children each and every single day, that we want to treat others the way you want to be treated. If you wouldn't want your mother, sister, brother, children, or neighbors spit on, hit on, or harassed, why are you so okay with letting it happen to others? Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
I think, okay, one more. Only because it's not 7:15 yet, and I said 1 hour. Okay, who could this be from? I would like to call Tyler Rogers to provide public comment.
Hi, I'm Tyler Rogers. Sorry for the last minute submission. After listening to this, I felt a need to say something. As I said, my name's Tyler Rogers. I've lived here in Lebanon for 25 years. I'm not an out-of-town actor. I love this town. I grew up here, but I know it, warts and all. Our state of Oregon and our town of Lebanon, unfortunately, have a very long history of prejudice and racism and exclusion. People of color were legally prohibited from living in this state at one time on penalty of public lashing. Lebanon was unofficially known as a sundown town in the lifetime of some of the people in this room. Our elected officials have a duty to lead our community to a better future. Our mayor and some of the people in this room have let all of us down by clinging to an unjust past, and our town of Lebanon deserves much better than that. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, well, with that, I want to thank everyone for coming for the public comment portion. I'm going to go ahead and close that out. And again, appreciate the passion on both sides, but just to remind our LGBTQ community here in Lebanon that the city is sponsoring or partially a sponsor of the Pride event that is happening on June 18th. I'm personally very proud of that and happy to see the city stepped up in that capacity. So with that, I'm going to have a 5-minute recess. So if anyone wants to leave or while we do the rest of the business, so we're going to have a quick 5-minute recess and we'll rejoin at 7:03.
Or so.
Always go to an
The line for the bathroom.
Okay, check. Okay, let's go ahead and reconvene at 7:06. Next on the agenda is a public hearing. So do I have to go into public hearing with this piece?
I think you asked for staff report first.
Okay.
Actually, I get to read my
No, I go through this piece
exciting
first.
part that I get to do too.
So the public hearing for, don't I start with this? Yeah. Okay, so bear with me. The public hearing for annexation A2202 is now open at 7:06 PM. Your patience is appreciated as our city attorney goes through the required hearing procedures.
I've come to the realization that that's the only time they ask for the patience is when I'm going to read this part of it. So appreciate that. We will be following the quasi-judicial hearing procedures set out in Oregon law. It would be pursuant to ORS 197.6763. The commencement of the hearing, all counselors will be asked to announce any ex parte contact or conflicts of interest. If you have any questions as to what ex parte contact or conflict of interest is, please feel free to ask. We'll start out with the staff report, includes information the staff believes to be relevant to the identified criteria in the city's comprehensive plan, land use regulations, and which staff believes to be relevant to the issues of the hearing. After the staff report, we will allow questions to staff by commission or by the city council. We'll then open up the meeting for public testimony. Testimony of witnesses will go in the following order. Start with applicant and any proponents of the application as they have the burden of proof. We will then have any opponents of the application and finally a chance for rebuttal if necessary. We'll then close the public hearing. Public testimony may be in either oral or written form, but must be concerning issues relevant to the hearing. All testimony and evidence must be directed towards the criteria described in the staff report or other criteria in the comprehensive plan or land use regulations. For those providing public testimony, please state your name and address when you testify. Please note that failure to raise an issue, including any constitutional issues or other issues related to the proposed conditions of approval, if any, accompanied by statements or evidence sufficient to afford the council and the parties an opportunity to respond to the issues, will preclude any appeal to the Land Use Board of Appeals. An issue which may be the basis for an appeal to LUBA shall be raised no later than the close of the record of the evidentiary hearing. Following the close of the public hearing, all discussion will be among council, and the council may approve or deny the application or approve an application with conditions for approval that are supported by the facts of the case. If there are any questions, what do I call Ms. President? President? Do I call you President?
Sure,
All
I'll
right.
take it.
All right. If there are no questions, Madam President, you may open the public hearing and ask for conflicts of interest or bias.
Okay. Do any counselors wish to declare ex parte contact, conflict, or bias? Seeing none, is there anyone in the audience that objects to the notice that was sent in this case or to the jurisdiction of this body to hear and consider this case? Seeing none. Will the Community Development Director please present the staff report virtually?
Good evening, Madam President and members of the City Council. This is a request to annex a 0.24 acres property that is on the east side of Cascade Drive and south of Wagon Wheel Drive next to the school. The property is located within the urban growth boundary and is designated in the comprehensive plan for residential mixed density. Consistent with the requirements of the development code, the land is assigned a corresponding residential mixed density zone upon annexation, and the applicant is accepting that initial zoning. The Planning Commission conducted a public hearing on April 20th of this year and found that the application complies with the decision criteria as established in the development code, and unanimously voted to recommend approval of this annexation to the City Council. The specifics of how the project meets the decision criteria have been included in the agenda packet for everybody to review. But generally speaking, the property is within the urban growth boundary. It is contiguous to city limits through the roadway of Cascade Drive. And the applicant is accepting the initial zoning, and so therefore it meets the criteria. And so it is a recommendation of staff that you accept the proposed ordinance and approve the annexation. And that concludes my report.
Sorry. Thank you. Does council have any questions for staff? Okay. At this time, I'll ask for the applicant's testimony. Is the applicant here tonight? Seeing none. Is there anyone who would like to speak in favor of this annexation? Is there anyone that would like to speak in opposition of this annexation? Okay. With that, we will go ahead and close the public hearing at 7:11 p.m. And all further discussion will be limited to the council and staff at this time. Is there any discussion from council? And if not, I would entertain a motion to on this annexation.
Madam President, we know what the owner plans to do with that property?
Staff, Kelly, could you hear that?
Yes, they plan to build a single family home.
Thank you.
Wasn't it a 2-bed, 1-bath kind of thing?
I do not know whatever they're
It was
proposing.
in the paper.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? Okay, if not, will the city attorney please read the title of the ordinance?
Ordinance Bill number 2022-05, ordinance number 2981, a bill for an ordinance annexing and zoning property following consent filed with the City Council by landowner in said area pursuant to ORS 222.120 and ORS 222.170, file A22-02, Scott Shaw.
Move for approval.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam
Thank you,
President.
Kelly. Okay, on to the next piece. So we are now in regular session, and next up, we will hear from Library Director Kendra Antilla, approval of fine-free policy for children's materials. Kendra, take it away.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
We can.
Okay, great. I'll keep it really brief. We're looking at two things tonight. One is the fine-free initiative for children's materials, and the other one is an amendment to some circulation policies. As I mentioned in the staff memo, fine-free for children is not a new thing. San Francisco did it in 1974. The infographic included in your packets from the State Library of Oregon shows that 57% of Oregon libraries are currently fine-free for children's items. I know I don't have to tell you guys, Lebanon is a rent-burdened community. 67% of students in our schools qualify for free or reduced lunches. Late fees create a barrier that disproportionately affect low-income households, and we want to make sure we're removing as many barriers as we can, especially barriers that prevent children from using the library. So my advisory board voted to go fine-free for children, and I'm hoping that you all see the benefit as well. The other thing we're talking about is some circulation policy changes, minor ones, and those are detailed in the policy manuals that you all have. The first one is on page 25. And that we used to limit people to 6 audiobooks or DVDs per household. Now we want to change that to per card. Those limits were put in place when those collections were much smaller. They're not needed anymore. And then we've also made a few other minor changes, things that in theory and practice we're already doing. We just need to clean up the policy manual so that the policy reflects what we're actually doing. And then the wording for the fine-free change is on page 30. And everything stays the same. People will still be charged, children, anyone would still be charged if they've damaged or lost a book. This is strictly late fees that we're looking to eliminate, and the wording says that. Any questions?
What, I assume there is a portion of revenue, and I hope it's not a lot, that comes from fees like this. What does that look like, that loss
Yeah.
look like, I guess, for the library, specific to the children's material?
I'm guessing it'll be about $6,000. When I looked at the last pre-pandemic year where everything was normal, the fines we took in were around $12,000. So if we assume half of that was for children's materials, we're looking at about $6,000.
Okay. Questions from council?
Yeah, one question, how do you audit the lateness component of how late is late? Do we do
It depends on the item. Different items have different circulation limits. Books usually circulate for 3 weeks, and then they can be renewed for another 3 weeks if they're not on hold. Once an item is past its due date, it accrues 20 cents a day in late fees. And then that caps out at $5. No one is ever charged more than $5 in late fees, as long as the item is eventually returned.
That's a lot of lates for $12,000.
we, so how do you get the book back? Does it just disappear from the library?
Do you mean if someone never returns a late book?
Yeah.
I mean, that does happen. It does happen. We do a contract with a collections agency that works strictly with libraries. And they're pretty, they're not real pushy. They're a nice collections agency, and their goal is strictly to get the item back to the library. And we have a very good return on investment as far as the collections agency goes.
Thank you.
I'd like to say thank you, and I commend you on the amount of work that you've put into this. When I first joined that committee, I was thinking, oh, no fines, no big deal. But she has put in tons and tons. You have no idea how much research and work that she has put into this from libraries across the country. She's talked to people that don't even speak English, probably, that the amount of work that she's put into this to come to for that committee, and she's leaving out so much detail, every single aspect of the questions that you can think of, from how do we get books back to, again, the agency that the credit company, whatever. She's put in so much work, and the fact that she's asking for this is based on research and data, and it's all almost scientific. So I commend you on the amount of work that you put into this, and thank you for doing what you do for the library.
Thank you.
Any further questions for Kendra? Okay, if not, I'd entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion as requested that we move forward with the no fine agenda.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We
Thank
have
you, Ms.
now made
Kendra.
it to the city manager's report. And thank you, Kendra, for your presentation tonight.
Not even 9 o'clock yet.
It's not even 9 o'clock yet. I do have several things that I want to highlight for you. At your places, you have a report from the Oregon Cascades West Council of Governments. This is for Lynn County and work that they did in 2021. They do have a new executive director, and this is one of the pieces he's working on. They are working to improve their data management to hopefully in future years get a little more focused on the specific cities and what they are doing in those cities with the services they offer. That is a good primer for what they do. We are members of COG, and we do work with them at the staff level frequently on things like grants and wetlands work. So that's all part of what we do as an organization. I want to highlight for you an event you probably don't know anything about, but it was kind of a critical issue. Over the weekend, we had an event with the water treatment plant and the intake on the water treatment plant. Friday morning, the water coming out of the reservoir was running at 3,080 cubic feet per second. And by noon on Saturday, it was running at 13,400 cubic feet per second. And this was done without notification to us. We ended up clogging the intake in the river. We had a crew that worked Friday all night and almost all day Saturday to get it cleared, so and basically doing some bypass pumping so that we could continue to treat water, monitoring what we had going out of our reservoirs to make sure that everybody had water available. And then we also brought in a dive team from Portland on Sunday to work on the final pieces of clearing it. We will be sending a letter to the Army Corps of Engineers. They are supposed to notify us when they do that, and we can do a backwash at the plant and basically push the water up against the river, which keeps us from clogging that intake, but they did not notify us. So we're going to send a letter expressing our dissatisfaction and including the costs for what it has taken.
Oh, good. I was hoping you could send him a bill.
I will. I'm not sure that the Army Corps is going to pay it, but they're going to get it. I want to specifically call out Tyson Keene, Jason Rush, Larry Majors, and our own Jason Williams were the ones who were out all night, Friday night, all day Saturday. They were joined on Saturday by Joe Boyanevsky, Eddie Barnes, Dwayne Ernst, and John Gaderis. They were in the river, they were beside the river, they were running about 5 different scenarios. If A doesn't work, we're going to try B, we're going to try C, we're going to try D, we're going to work to E. They did not get that far down. They were able to get it cleared. It was a phenomenal work effort, and I just really want to recognize that on behalf of the city, the staff, the council, to just say, amazing work by some really dedicated people. It was cold. The water was, I think, 52 degrees. It was cold working out there. Once you get wet, you stay wet. It was miserable, but they did awesome work.
Nancy, you
yes.
said it something we weren't expecting. What actually happened?
They released water from Foster at a much higher rate, right? So you go from 3,000 to 13,000 cubic feet. It just was a whoosh down the river, kind of a
So it wasn't from rain or anything. It was
It
because
wasn't rain, but that much water then seriously increases the turbidity in the water. So you've got sand and gravel and rocks and trees and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think people oftentimes forget the power of hydraulics and how much a little bit of water can move, and it was moving a lot. So
So normally, if they were going to do something like that, they should let everybody down the river know.
normally they should let people downriver know. So our letter will express the desire for them to get back into that as a routine in terms of working with us. For those of you who haven't, you can now download the app from the App Store for Lebanon Local, and that will give you the calendar. This is the piece that the chamber has been working on. It will give you calendar of events, what's happening in the community. That is an amazing tool for people coming to town, people who live here who like, hey, it's Friday night, what's going on? Well, here's who's playing at Barcidius, or here's who plays out at Cheetah Lake tonight or in Strawberry Plaza tonight. That kind of summer activity, I think, will be really beneficial. I'm looking forward to that getting more play. At the last council meeting, we had some questions I said we'd do some follow-up on. It's in my written report, but just in a highlight, we are working to get signs north of Vine on Main reminding people to stop for pedestrians. There was a lot of comment about yellow curbs that are faded. Yes, they get painted July, August timeframe. We get the paint from Lynn County once they've done their order. We expect that to work as usual, but supply chain, I won't say more on that. And then Councillor Ulfers commented on a sewer line cleanout he'd seen and the flushable wipes that were clogging the sewer. That will be the note on the bills going out in May, that flushable wipes are not flushable, and to use an alternative method. But that's just follow up for all of you.
On the sign situation, did someone get hurt on Main Street the other day or hit by a car? No? Okay, I'm glad I asked because I had heard that, so I wanted to double check.
I haven't heard
That
anything,
was the
so
case, okay.
that's it for me.
Oh, I hid my agenda. Next up, items from the press or the public. This is your second, for the public, this is a second opportunity to provide public comment. And for press, this is an opportunity to provide any, if you have questions of council. No?
I was hoping that the Strawberry Festival Board, who's represented here, would come and say a word. Thank
I
you.
skipped over one. We'll go back to it after this.
You got voluntold.
I totally got voluntold. You've been hanging out with city hours way too long.
Way too
I
much.
am still running this timer for 3 minutes, so just a heads up.
Oh, hey, good. I only have to talk 3 minutes. Am I supposed to push a button?
Would you, for the record?
For the record, I'm Cindy Kirby. I am the board chairperson of the Lebanon Strawberry Festival. We are gearing up, as you know, for the Strawberry Festival in 3 weeks. So the Strawberry Festival is going as planned. We have increased our security and we have made some measures to protect the community, as was expressed earlier tonight. I heard somebody expressing some concern about security at the festival. We have made some phone calls to government agencies to help keep everybody safe and try to keep that in line. In addition, we do have an admission fee this year, which is new. That's just to kind of help cover some of the costs of the festival, but we are doing free parking to help get people off the road faster and eliminate some of the traffic issues we've had in the past. So we have the event is planned. It is going forward as planned. We will have the 2 parades, the run walk we've had in the past, and be doing the regular festivities at the grounds. We're bringing in bigger name entertainment on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night. So expect more traffic and more people in town on all 3 nights and not just Saturday night. We are kind of working with flaggers and ODOT and some of the other entities to kind of help with that traffic control and help work with that. So we do plan to have a very secure event, and we do plan to move forward with the Strawberry Festival.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone have questions for Cindy?
Not a question, but I just want to say thank you for the huge and voluminous amount of hours and hours and hours that the entire board puts in to making this event happen, making it work. I will say that Cindy put in a request for only a half-day of rain allowed. So I'm just letting you know that it's going to be beautiful weather.
No rain.
Only. And you did mention security, but also safety in terms of hand washing stations and whatnot. So
Yes,
it's
there will
something.
be hand washing stations. The carnival is still planning to do the same sanitary they were going to do in 2021. We will have our hand sanitizer stations throughout the festival. And we're doing a clear bag situation, so everybody has to bring in clear bags. So we have totally increased our security and our safety for the community. And we've been working on that for several months. So it should be a fun, safe event for the community, and we really are looking forward to having it. And we did just in the last few days secure the train is going to be picking up people and shuttling them to festival every hour, all 3 days. So, well, 3 of the 4 days. So that'll be pretty awesome too that they're going to do that. So we're excited.
In the past, you've had a celebration for Hero Day.
Yes.
Are you going to do that again?
Yes. All Heroes Day is Thursday.
Okay,
Yep.
great.
So anybody that is active military, veteran, first responders, linemen, anything like that can get in for free on Thursday. And we have a celebration on stage where we do the national anthem and kind of kick off the event. And then the carnival does buy one, get one free wristbands for those individuals as well.
Fireworks is only on Saturday this
Fireworks
year.
on Saturday, that's correct.
Cindy, who did you contract with for the carnival this year?
The carnival is contracted with Rainier Amusement. They also do the Oregon State Fair.
And you mentioned the clear bags, just to be clear that there will be a bag checking
There
station.
will be a bag check and clear bags required to enter the festival. That's correct.
All right. Thank you for the primer on the festival. We
Thank
all
you.
look forward to it. It's been a couple years. It'd be nice to have cake and carnival rides. So, and thank you for your work during the pandemic to make sure that some semblance of it continued during those 2 years. So
We did mention the parades.
the parades, she did.
The parade on Saturday and junior parade? Okay, I wasn't listening. All right.
Okay, I did skip over, well, first, we're gonna go back to items from council. I'm going to kick that off with, thank you again for your patience tonight. I was not expecting when I got here 5 minutes before that this is the chair I would be sitting in tonight. So again, thanks for your patience as we move through this meeting. So I just want to thank everybody for, we had a lot of public comment tonight, and I know there was a lot of passion on both sides. But I think that this council, this body was very respectful, and the comments that I heard from the public were generally respectful. And I think that's very important for our city to maintain that respect, that level of respect for people. I'm personally disappointed we were not able to pass a resolution to honor our LGBT community. I feel like it cost nothing except for the breaths between the sentences that I'm speaking tonight, quite honestly. So, but I am proud that the city has sponsored the event, or is coming alongside as a sponsor of the event, excuse me, by waiving the fees for both the senior center and for the park that night. So I encourage you as counselors to come, or just as citizens to come to that event on June 18th. I'm definitely not involved in planning on it because I'm off to vacation a couple of days after that. But I know that a lot of work has gone into that event, and it is a celebration of not just our LGBT community, our LGBTQ plus community, but a celebration of our community as a whole. So with that, are there further counselor comments? Okay, seeing none. Record time, I did not expect to be done at 7:31, but here we are. We will go ahead and adjourn. Thank you to everybody.
Thank you.